not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee to one Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into more important issues. Tennessee brought their bowling shoes last night. We're going bowling, baby. Who would have thought that after we fired Jeremy Pruitt? I don't think a lot of people would have thought Josh Heupel would end up getting this group to 7 wins, but it looks like he's on the cusp of doing just that. Tennessee just took care of business last night. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame tip-off in the Mohegan Sun against – I don't really want to talk a lot about Saturday. But we'll discuss it a little bit. But I want to talk about today because that seems like more of the Tennessee basketball team we should expect going forward. Will McNeely is going to come on, talk about how a tweet kind of blew up and Danny White made things happen to get a scholarship in place to honor some veterans. So definitely want to see that, get to that. And then we got some segments, go over some college football as well. A lot going on. And I mentioned Tennessee took care of business against South Alabama. It was cold. There was not a lot of people there. It was at night against an inferior opponent who was not even playing their starting quarterback. But Tennessee scored 60 points.
Yeah, I mean, scoring 60 points. I mean,
60 sandwich, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, I think we're officially running with 60 sandwich, which first, it's starting to roll off the tongue, though. If we keep, look, I'll call it whatever you want. If we keep scoring 60 points, call it whatever you want. I'll take them. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. It is going to be bowl season for Tennessee. I don't know where we're going to end up. That's a big question mark. It looks like Music City Bowl, maybe Charlotte. Florida looks like possibly, but maybe kind of depends on kind of what Kentucky does against Louisville. I think you got to get some teams in front of you to lose. But the crowd Tennessee can bring in is going to make them attractive to any bowl. So we'll kind of see how things plays out. Tennessee just got to take care of business this week in against Vanderbilt. Hopefully that won't be too tough of a task looking at their program. But we just kept the foot on the gas. Like we start off strong like we usually do. I think that's the third straight game where we've scored on our opening drive and then just kept on. I think we're 5 for 5 in the red zone, 5 touchdowns. I think we scored on our first 7 possessions, if you're not counting the one play right before halftime where Hendon Hooker took a sack and then we went to the locker room. So really good day for Tennessee. Hendon Hooker was himself again, almost perfect, 17 of 20, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 21 rushing yards and a touchdown as well. I mean, he's just playing clean football. He's playing efficient football, and he's making some freaking dimes.
Love it. I want him to come back so much next year. Like, if we can get just another year, another recruiting class in, and I can see that, like, I love him. I just love him.
I mean, how does offensive guys not, like, be attractive to this offense?
I don't know how you don't. If you look at what our wide receivers are doing right now,
Cedric Tillman has, I think, 1 less touchdown than he had receptions his first 3 years on campus this year.
Yeah, that shows.
Yeah. Velus Jones is having a career season. I think there was a graphic from Tennessee football. It was like he's the only wide receiver only player in the country with 700 receiving yards, 500 kick return yards, and 200 punt return yards. So, I mean, he's making himself some money is what he's doing.
Exactly. And we love it. It's just, both of those two reached the 100-yard mark in receiving, and it's just, I mean, again, I know it's against like South Alabama, but just being able to go out there and like watch Hendon Hooker be able to throw like that good of a pass with just any human being that's like decent in football covering it, like those are some absolute dimes that, like, if I'm a recruit, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, like I can see that there's definitely a boost in talent versus what, if you're looking Tennessee last year, I'd be like, that's not somewhere where I want to like affiliate myself with if they're not even sure what's happening.
Yeah, you just got to look at the production and look at the development of some of these guys. I mean, Hendon Hooker had a okay couple years at Virginia Tech, but nothing like it was this year. You know, we mentioned Cedric Tillman. Velus Jones was in that same boat. Was kind of an afterthought at USC. Transfers here, had an okay last couple. He really stood out the last couple games. And then this year, he's probably going to be an all SEC player. Probably first team returner, if I would have to guess, especially after that 96-yard return he took to the house last night. So yeah, just a fun game to watch. The outcome was never in doubt. South Alabama didn't have Jake Bentley playing. I feel like that would have been kind of nice to see him play, because the last time he beat Tennessee, he probably should have been at his senior prom. So it was weird getting beat by an 18-year-old. But that's just where Tennessee was at that time. So it'd have been nice to get a revenge game against him. But Tennessee was up for this game. It wasn't a trap game, or at least they didn't make it into one. They just come out wanting to get bowl eligible. That was their goal, and they did that.
Yeah, they were just out there having fun. I loved seeing the locker room videos after. Like, it's just when you're able to like not worry too much about like a game like that, and you can just go have fun and like know that you got a pretty solid chance at going bowling. It's just like such a fun atmosphere, and that's like what I want to see like over the next couple of years, because I love Heupel's energy. Like, you know, you can question Pruitt and whatever, but Heupel's just got this vibe to him that makes me, I feel so good about the future. Making all these bets with my friends, like Tennessee SEC champs within 5 years. Like,
yeah, I will say this is like yesterday was one of the first times I've really felt confident, besides the Kentucky game. We were like +3. Like,
yeah,
Pruitt's whole entire tenure, I was like, I'm never betting on this team at all.
No.
But now you feel like pretty good when the spread comes out. Like, okay, 27 points against South Alabama. Oh, yeah, we did that in the first half.
Yeah.
So, Vols win, Vols cover. That's exactly what we like to see. No turnovers. We also love to see that. We were 8 for 11 on third down, kept South Alabama 1 for 16 on third down. Not great on fourth down on defense. They did convert, I think, 5 of 8 of those, but did really well on third down. That's kind of been an issue for this defense this season. And we didn't punt until the fourth quarter, and I think somebody said it after the game. I don't remember who it was, but their goal is to retire Paxton Brooks from punting the entire game.
Love it.
I mean, it sucks for Paxton Brooks, but I mean, is that not the easiest job, to go out there and you get one punt, you boot that thing? I mean, your average is through the roof.
Exactly. Nobody's going to be paying attention to that for the pros. Just be like, dude, my hang time average and like my yardage, like, come on. It was insane. Yeah, well, you punted twice a game because your offense was through the roof and converted on every third down. So
we also got the tight ends involved. That was different.
Yeah.
Jacob Warren had 4 catches for 33 yards. Princeton Fant had 3 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Hunter Salmon also had 3 receptions for 7 yards. So, yeah, got those guys involved. I don't know if we had a tight end recruit in the stands. Maybe they're trying to impress them. But whatever it was, it seemed to be working. Tennessee liked those mismatches with the tight ends, and they took advantage of them. That one Princeton Fant took to the house. I mean, I was like, I know he played receiver in his career, but he looked quick.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he can – I mean, he can move for his size. Yeah. He's pretty scary. I wouldn't want him running at me at full speed. I'll tell you that right now.
You got that thing going. I mentioned the defense got off the field on third down. They had kind of a mobile quarterback, but didn't do too much. He had 12 carries for 10 yards, so not a whole lot. His long was 8 yards. They rushed for They had 37 carries for 69 yards. I mean, that includes, I think, 25 yards and sacks, but averaging less than 2 yards per carry, that's pretty dang good for that defense. A defense that kind of struggled against Georgia. I know it is South Alabama, but didn't get a lot of TFLs against Georgia and was able to come out there and get 13 against the South Alabama team. And Amari Thomas kind of set the tone on that first drive, just coming through untouched and grabbing. He kind of almost overran the running back, but just used that big claw to just bring him toward him, and the guy wasn't going anywhere when Amari Thomas got that big claw, and he's been impressive. I know we're about to get into like guys who impress and stuff like that, but I mean, he's a guy that's really come on the past couple weeks, and to see him and Jabari Small kind of be leaders on this team right now and be starters just as sophomores from the same school, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else that you want to kind of throw in about South Alabama? You don't want to take too much from it. I think Tennessee is taking care of the teams they should take care of, scoring 60 points, keeping teams off the board. I know South Alabama had some pretty good wide receivers. They made some plays on Warren Burrell, and then Jaylen Tolbert, he probably should be playing at South Alabama. No offense to them, but he looks like an SEC type receiver. And, he kind of got a cheap one, a 68-yard touchdown late in the game when Tennessee had their backups in. But for the most part, I thought Tennessee did a really good job defensively.
Yeah, I'd say we're a little bit better than on track of where we wanted to be at the beginning of the season. So, I'm not going to complain too much. Like you said, don't take too much out of a South Alabama win, but it's a big win. And, if we came into the season, I think the only game that was, up for toss would have been Pitt, but I think we made up for it with how we beat Mizzou and South Carolina and teams like South Alabama, and I'm sure we'll rout Vandy maybe.
Hopefully.
I tend to be the bad luck charm there, and knock on wood, but I'm solid. I'm good where we are.
Yeah. It's great to be a Tennessee Vol. How about that? Got a win today. The basketball team did, and got a win last night. Guys who impressed. Let's get to that real quick. Richard Pickell said, "I'm glad Jake Bentley wasn't playing. I want him to play. I wanted Tennessee to kind of get that revenge. I know it's South Alabama. It's different from South Carolina, but if you look at the score, it wasn't much of a difference between the two.
Yeah. I don't think he was going to come in and score an extra, 5 touchdowns to make it a close game. I don't think it was going to be that big a game changer, but it would have been, I guess, more entertaining to see, and like you said, get that revenge game, maybe make it a little bit more exciting. But
guys who impressed you?
Velus Jones Jr. That's got to be. He's just a dog. He keeps dropping 100-yard receiving games. That kick return was gorgeous. He's just all around an absolute dog.
Yeah, I like Velus Jones. I like Cedric Tillman. He continues to put defenders on posters, just going up and get those 50-50 balls. I think he's closing in on 1,000 yards. I think he's at 825 right now. So I'd love to see him get to that 1,000-yard mark. I was super impressed with those two. Hendon Hooker, it's just another thing for him to be so efficient like that. So it's weird not talking about him every single week because it's just the norm. But Hendon Hooker just continues to be the leader of this team and really change the vibe after he came in that Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the whole backfield. They definitely divided up the runs. They everybody got a little bit of share, and there was not one weak side. Everybody got the ball, and everybody looked pretty decent to what I would expect them to. We got 5 rushing touchdowns from 4 different people. So if you got that kind of ability to change it up from different people, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, the offensive line kind of took care of business. What do we average? 5.8 yards per carry. So, and you mentioned 5 touchdowns. So Yeah, just another day in the office for that offensive line who, it looks like Cade Mays dealt with an injury. I don't know what the status on him is. Cooper Mays dealt with an injury as well. But Heupel said after the game he could have went back in and just didn't. But it seemed like when Dane Davis and Ollie Lane and those guys came in, it didn't really miss a beat. I know Cade Mays, it's probably a different story when you're going up against an SEC opponent, maybe not named Vanderbilt, but you definitely want to get him back for the bowl game. So hopefully we get him ready to go against, I don't know, like ACC, Big Ten, I guess is like probably unless we go to the Liberty Bowl. Caleb, shaved Caleb.
Shaved.
Oh my
Naked.
gosh.
Naked.
Dude, this is a family podcast. You can't be
I know.
on here.
I know. Sorry I'm late. I was just sending out the last touchdown tweet from last night. So they made me work all night for it.
It was backlogged.
Yeah. I had to get them all out. No, I'm here.
Well, do you have anything to add for South Alabama?
No, I mean it was it's not. We talked about it on Thursday. It's South Alabama. Like it's hard to like really celebrate it per se. Obviously, every wins, especially at Tennessee here lately, every wins you kind of savor the moment. But I mean I feel like the only like true positive you can take away. I like what Joe said as I kind of got in on the back of that. Like it's good to see the young guys getting in on it. We talked about that on things we want to see. So those are some good positives. And then Tennessee just going out and taking care of business. Hendon Hooker, you mentioned this, Landon. Hendon Hooker kind of just being Hendon Hooker. That we've seen, and then you just had playmakers on the field that had the opportunities to make plays, and then I mean, defense you'd like to see them improve, but I mean, all in all, they played good. It's just like get off the field when you get off the field. Don't shoot yourself in the foot so much.
Yeah, that was kind of like if you're looking like nitpicking the game, special teams, dude, you got to know. They're going to fake. You got to know they're going to try onside kicks. So you got to be ready for that. That just was kind of annoying, I guess. I don't think anything even came of it. I don't think they scored on either one of those drives. I know they didn't on the onside kick.
They did on the fake. The fake punt
They
was their first touchdown drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was their first touchdown drive.
Yeah. Definitely not like that. It seems like the special teams, they had those two things. You're like, well, what the crap? But then – we run a kickoff back, so it's hard to really put you can't just down the special teams. They scored a touchdown. Defense scored 4 points in the game. I don't know when's the last time Tennessee had two safeties in the game, if ever.
That snap was incredibly impressive. It went 30 yards.
He was don't they say like try to take the punter's head off when you snap it?
Well, if it was Paxton Brooks, he might have hit his head.
Or Dane Davis.
Yeah, you needed someone. You needed a taller punter if you were going in for the head. Yeah, maybe it was pretty high, but maybe.
Yeah, that was and fourth down, 5 for 8. That's definitely not ideal. They were 1 for 16 on third down. So again, nitpicking, but it was fun.
It was a ton of fun. And I mean, like the defense taking care of opportunities. I'm just I don't know how that one pass was incomplete to it was to not Trotter. It was Trotter
Holbert?
To Holbert in the back of the end zone on third down.
Mm-hmm.
It was a terrible pass, and then he probably still could have caught it. And then Tennessee gets off the field with the sack. Like you capitalize on opportunities that are available to you on fourth down. So I mean, it wasn't just an abysmal showing from the defense, but some things definitely got to get fixed when we talk about closing the gap on the better teams that we don't have to play anymore for the rest of the season. So that's good. They're out of the way, out of sight.
Also, I felt like we could have got like guys in sooner.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean,
I thought the Hooker's last drive was going to be the first drive of the second half.
Yeah, I did.
I thought
after
you scored here
real quick. Yeah, it was. The game should have been well in hand, but it didn't look like anybody got injured during that time, so I guess like I can't be that mad about it.
And you don't have a ton of depth either, so it's not like
right.
I mean, Tennessee played
whoever,
9 receivers, so
yeah. Guys who impressed. Joe mentioned Velus Jones. I mentioned Cedric Tillman. Another guy that really impressed me was Amari Thomas. Kind of set the tone early, getting in the backfield, getting a TFL. He just seems like him and Matthew Butler seem like your legitimate defensive tackles at this point. I know they kind of get guys in and out, but it seems like those two guys are on the field the majority of the time.
Yeah, I thought Amari Thomas played a good game. I mean, I don't know how many tackles for a loss he ended up with.
I think he only ended up. This has him only having one. I thought he had more than that, but
I thought he had a sack at least and then a tackle for a loss.
I saw 21 back in the backfield a lot.
Yeah, and he was kind of, we talked about with like a lot of the interior line early in the season. He was just involved in every play. It seemed like he was at the ball every single tackle.
Right. Yeah, the statistician didn't help Amari Thomas out Saturday. It didn't look like.
No.
Yeah, he had a good game. I thought Roman Harrison also had a really good game. 6 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, 4 solo tackles. He just seemed like he had. I don't know. It just felt like he was on top of everything.
Mm.
He was quick. He ran sideline to sideline. He recognized what was going on very quickly. So I was pretty impressed with Roman Harrison at that edge position last night.
Yeah, and it's going to be nice to get another backer involved in the game. It seems like you only had one all year. So you mentioned him being able to play sideline to sideline. Like that would obviously we're talking two games left in the season. But he'll be back next year and hopefully kind of build on that. And that's the thing. I mean, Tennessee doesn't lose just a ton defensively. They lose some key guys. They do lose some key guys, but they don't lose a ton overall like the offense potentially could.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Matthew Butler.
Matthew Butler, Malante Taylor, but I think Malante Taylor does have the super senior. Yeah,
he could come back.
I was about to say Trevion Flowers. He's just
I think Theo's gone.
Theo. Okay. Yeah. So they lose some key guys, but they don't lose just a bulk of the staff. So.
Yep.
You mentioned I'm going to flip to the offensive side of the ball. I thought our tight ends, both Princeton Fant and Jacob Warren, played really good games. I feel like Princeton Fant maybe probably wanted to have a better game last week. He had several targets and just wasn't able to make big plays, but got in the end zone this week and had 40 yards receiving. So couple 2 tight end sets too from Josh Heupel last night.
Yeah, I was telling Joe, I was like, I don't know if we had a tight end recruit in the stands somewhere, but it definitely seemed like it. We
must have had a couple.
Yeah, we were throwing the ball to them more than we have, I feel like we were hitting them often early in the season, but then kind of stopped for whatever reason. But hey, they like the matchups, so whatever. Get them involved. They're weapons too. They're athletes too.
Absolutely. So yeah, I was impressed with the tight ends, and I mean the receiving group as a whole played a really good game. I thought too. I mean I feel like Josh Heupel just wanted to get the ball to him and let him play. I mean, not a ton of deep shots. A few take opportunities when you can get them, but not a ton of them. Just kind of got the ball into space and let them work. And I mean that's all you need to do against South Alabama. So why push the button with it? Just let them felt good
to get to the point where we have a quarterback that probably the majority of the fan base had no clue what his name was.
Had a what now? Oh, quarterback. Yeah. Hey, listen, I had a good guess. I was like, is that UCF transfer? It was.
Yeah.
It was the UCF transfer. I wasn't sure of his number.
Also, yeah, I mean, hardly anybody probably knew his name.
Right. Speaking of numbers, when did Jaylen Wright change numbers? I was very confused when he first scored.
Oh, he's had that number for a while.
Well, he changed it during the season.
Yeah. So what was he before?
23. He wore 23 against.
Yeah, that's right.
And I went back and verified.
Yeah, he changed it probably shortly after that, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if he hadn't played a ton since then. It probably had to do with special teams or something.
Gotcha.
Along those lines. Don't want another penalty like that.
Yeah, there is I can't remember who wears 23 on defense. There is a defensive 23, so that's a good point. That may be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Labruza? Is he 23?
I think that's right.
Okay.
That's right. think you're right.
Yeah. What about Laneith Whitehead's big run?
Loved it.
Got hawked, but he is a bigger guy, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
He also, I mean, it wasn't like he got hawked down from 20 yards either. Like it was
No.
the guy was running with him. We'll give him it.
He's 220.
He's a big dude.
220. That's a big dude.
Big guy.
I mean,
speaking of big guys, D. Beckwith got in the game. I know a lot of Vol fans are happy about that.
Yeah,
bigger. He was bigger than Moore.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I was super impressed last night. Again, it's not too much to hang your hat on, but I think Tennessee took care of business, and hopefully we're able to carry that momentum into when Vanderbilt little brother comes to town next week.
Yeah, I mean, I know Vanderbilt's not been great. They did kind of play with Ole Miss for 2 quarters last night. Credit to them. But I mean, they want to beat Tennessee. I mean, they want to, and good for them. They should.
They always get up for this game. So hopefully we're able to get up for that game as we did last night against South Alabama somehow, some way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the fun part about this team is like I think they're very, very bought in. It may end up being to a fault to like Josh Heupel's speed of the offense. Like they're like, yeah, we'll go out there and score as quick as possible. No worries.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to come one day where we're wanting to kill the clock and we just can't.
I mean, even last night is like, all right, guys, let's just milk this to the end. They're like hurrying up to the line. They're trying to get the clock down, and it's only getting down to like 13 seconds, the play clock. Like they tried, guys.
I feel like there was a game, I don't remember what game it was, where we were trying to just milk the clock, and I think it was South Carolina, and we were just terrible. Like we kept jumping, we kept false starting and everything like that. So they're like, well, screw it. We'll just run our regular offense and just run the ball.
Love it.
Whatever works.
Do what you do well.
Yep. Bread and butter.
Don't worry about anything else. Just do that. Anything else for football before we go to jump to some other sports here?
No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
All right, well, we're getting into basketball. That's what we're going to talk Hall of Fame tip-off. Is that what it's called? Hall of Fame tip-off. Did you see the court? Did it bother you?
I didn't really notice it now that you say that, I guess.
So it was like a basketball was like a design of like off, like not finished or like finished in a different color. And it wasn't centered, like the center line wasn't centered on the half court line. It drove me nuts the entire game. I didn't know. I listened to the game on Saturday. I was like, I didn't notice it. That's why.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Saturday, I was telling them before, I'm like, let's not talk about this game too much because it was just like, it was weird. Like it started off terrible. We got the terrible charge call on Kennedy Chandler. And then after that, we just couldn't throw it in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do want to jump into basketball. We're going to skip around a little bit. We do have a cool opportunity to talk to someone that's started a incredible scholarship here to help some students and potentially veterans and other service members. This is Will McNeely. Will, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing well. Thank you for hopping on and talking about this wonderful thing that you have gotten going. I read a little bit about kind of how it started, kind of took a different direction. You just want to tell us how this came about?
So, when those service members in the Kabul attack were killed, I, was very. It struck a chord with me personally, just because my family is just riddled with military from my grandfathers all the way down to in-laws and up and down the chain. We're just very, very proud to be a military family. My wife's in law enforcement, so when that attack happened, I prayed so hard, just what can I do this time that can really just be a little bit more than just a simple thank you for your service or listening to their stories, because I called friends and I texted friends. I texted one of my best friends whose brother was killed, not in service, but I wanted to make sure that they were okay and that his friends were okay too. So I prayed hard, like, what can I do this time that's just a little bit more actionable? and I knew in God's timing that he would show me. And when I found out that one of those service members was from the Knoxville area, Staff Sergeant Ryan Canals, I said, that has to be the connection this time. Like, maybe this is what I can do. And it's through the University of Tennessee. And, me being a huge, massive Tennessee fan, I thought, I'll just send a tweet out, because you never just know with social media these days, who's seeing it, who can watch it, whether good or bad. But this time it was good. And next thing you know, I'm getting a call from Marcus Hilliard, who Vol fans are very deeply, they know who he is. So when I heard Marcus Hilliard on the other line, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And he connected me with Steve Hammer, and, Vol fans know who he is too, being a former basketball player with the university. And, after several great meetings and great discussions, we launched on Veterans Day, which I couldn't think of a better day to launch it to, the Veterans Memorial Graduate Business Scholarship. And, it goes to honor those servicemen and women from that Kabul attack, especially Staff Sergeant Ryan Canals.
That's really cool because, it's always a big deal when you see something like that. And then when you see like Staff Sergeant Ryan Canals was one of those 13 that was killed in Afghanistan that day, it really kind of hits home for you. And you're kind of saying that's how this kind of started. But Danny White kind of getting all this together. It seems like every couple months he's seeing something on social media, where it's a tweet or people tweeting at him and making something happen. So props to him, and props to Tennessee just getting this together, because it's a really awesome thing.
Oh, absolutely. When you think about the things that they have done, and by they, I mean the university and the administration. From my knowledge, I heard that his family was brought out during the first game. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but he was brought out during their family was brought out during the first game. I hate missing this past game, but I was at the Pitt game for 9/11 and that tribute. And man, I just, boy, that was a nice tribute. And but this past weekend, with it being a salute to service, I wish I'd been there. Big time, but we all got this like nasty sinus infection, so I didn't feel like making anybody else sick. But when it comes to like the things that Danny White has done for the university and the fans, just simple things, really, when you think about it, it's just simple little things that he's doing to just make sure he's connecting with the fan base and doing what makes it the right thing to do, which is, when it all comes down to, is just the right thing when you think about it. So, when I started the scholarship, that's all I had in mind, was just what can I do to just do the right thing to honor those servicemen and women. So, when you look at that scholarship, when you look at who it goes towards, when you donate, that's just what you got to think about, is like, hey, it's going to honor the legacy of those service members, and it's going to impact individuals with military ties, veterans, to help from a financial standpoint through their education, because the GI Bill, it covers some things. It covers a lot, really. But, when I got a phone call from an Army veteran from Special Forces, he kind of broke it down to me, which I didn't know. And that really helped explain, like, hey, this could go for like gas or food or mental health services for those folks. And when it comes to adjusting to getting back to the rigors of academia, because you're on your own when you think about it, versus being in your platoon or with your friends and your servicemen and colleagues to help you. But, when you're in academia, you're really on your own.
Absolutely. And this is kind of just to reiterate how special this is to get started, both from thank you for, kind of taking just a leap, seeing kind of what happened. Like you said, social media works in weird ways, sometimes good, and glad this one's working for the good. I do want to, you kind of mentioned who's eligible for the scholarship. What is the scholarship? Who kind of fits in the eligibility? What are the requirements? Just more general info about regarding it specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. So the scholarship itself is housed with the Haslam School of Business for several reasons. Number one, being a person of, I'm in business, and having my graduate degree. I thought that was just kind of a 1-2 punch right there that just made a match made in heaven for the scholarship, because, a lot of folks are, if you think back to like the 50s and 60s, not a lot of people got their undergraduate degree versus today's world. Like a lot of people are getting their undergraduate degree, but not so much are getting their graduate degree. So that's just kind of setting you up just a little bit more when you graduate to kind of separate yourself from other candidates, for career wise. So on top of that, we need $25,000 to qualify for the Haslam's dollar for dollar match. So that's why the money, the fundraising efforts are being housed at GoFundMe. So that way, I can just double make sure that every single person's donation gets that dollar for dollar match. No matter what happens with the GoFundMe, those funds will get donated to the scholarship. In terms of the scholarship itself, the people that will be given to, it'll be given out yearly. And then on top of that, it'll be given to either like a veteran or a individual that has military ties in their family, whether it be active or veteran status, Gold Star or Blue Star families, for those that do know what that means. On top of that, maybe an individual that's coming from the university, like a service academy, like Navy, Army, Air Force, etc., or a military school like the Citadel, VMI, something of that nature.
Okay. Yeah, that's really
Excellent.
cool.
That's even kind of cool just to see a scholarship kind of go it has a ton of reach there with all that you talked about that are eligible, that kind of providing generational, if I can say the right word, support for service members, potentially beyond themselves, but for sons and daughters, grandkids. So that is a very cool way to kind of make the eligibility for that. That this is a really great thing, kind of started in something that's in a moment that seemed kind of hopeless. So thank you again for taking initiative. It's a great way for Tennessee fans, alumni to honor, anybody who's served this country.
Absolutely. So, if you're watching or you watch the replay, or, you're just wondering how to get involved, I mean, absolutely. Number one, go donate to the GoFundMe. Like I said, when we get to the 25,000 mark, your $1, $5, $10, $50 will automatically be doubled by the Haslam family, which is amazing. Number two is just help spread the word, whether it be go retweet the announcement on my Twitter handle, go tag a couple friends, something like that on social media. Or number three, you can spread the word by texting a buddy that link, or email a buddy, or, get the word out that way.
Love it. And what is we'll drop the Twitter handle too as we tweet out this part. What is your Twitter handle, Will, that they can find some of those GoFundMe links and be able to retweet that initial tweet?
Yeah, the great thing is it's just simple. It's my name at Will McNeely, and my last name is spelled McNeely.
Excellent. Everybody, go follow him. I'll let Landon follow him and make sure if you can go donate to this incredible scholarship for our service members and their families.
Yeah, go support that. I am curious, Will, real quick before I'll let you go. How are the donations coming? Like, how far is this? I know it's kind of a newer thing, but where are we at in your goal? And what is your goal?
So the goal is first to get to that $25,000 mark, like I mentioned. I think this morning we were at $2,400 out of the 25,000. So got a little ways to go, but you know what? I'm not deterred or rejected or anything like that. I'm just doing this alone. So, any help is appreciated whatsoever. The next goal would be about $50,000 because, then it becomes like $100,000 scholarship. And the ultimate goal, and this isn't near term or anything like that, but the ultimate goal is $250,000 in the scholarship, because then it becomes fully endowed, which means there's enough money in the account to last forever. And it can live off the interest, which means at 4%, which is what they told me at Haslam, 4% interest is $10,000 scholarship a year for whoever gets awarded to. And that's, for a grad student, and you're only in grad school for 2 years. That could be like a full ride almost.
Yeah, that goes a long way for sure. Well, we really appreciate you coming on, talking about that, getting that thing started. And a lot of people talk about making a difference, but you really did that. So really appreciate you. Go Vols. I know we're called idiots today, but you got something started. So how how idiotic does that look? So
that was funny, but hey, I'm just a simple idiot trying to do the right thing for our military.
right, that's all we need.
Well, thank you
Appreciate you,
again,
Will.
Will. Yeah, appreciate it.
Y'all, thank you for having me on, and go Vols.
Go Vols. See you, man.
Go Vols. We appreciate Will McNeely hopping on and discussing kind of what started just like I said out of a moment that it's tough to see military personnel die overseas, of course, service members. So a tragic moment that anytime you can turn that into a positive, that's a great thing. That's the Veterans Memorial Graduate Business Scholarship. If you go to Will's page, it's this pinned tweet, retweet that. The GoFundMe's attached in there as well, and go show the go show the individuals that will receive the scholarship what the volunteer spirit is all about. But also kind of if you need to show if you feel like you're whatever gets you there. If you feel like you're, like Landon said, kind of shoving it to the national media, we were calling them idiots and whatever else they've called us over the last 2 months. If you want to donate in spite of them, that's a donation to the right place. So go take care of that. And I want to use this. This was Will mentioned this against South Alabama was the salute to service game. Thank you for all the men and women who've sacrificed and served in our military. I know a lot of times it can it goes thankless, and but genuinely appreciate the sacrifices that you all have made to our country. And I just wanted to take the moment to do that. And I did see a flyover at the Vol Walk. That's got to be a new thing, like ever for anyone.
Yeah, it was really cool. The band made the United States last night. Lee Greenwood was also there. For those of y'all who don't know, he has one song and one song only, and
he sings it at Tennessee every single year, right?
Yeah, God bless the USA. Yeah, it seems like it anyway.
How many musicians have played in front of 102,000 people? I mean, he's got to be in a minority there. So
yeah, that's true. And when he says the hills of Tennessee, everybody goes nuts every single time.
I go nuts. It went with outside the stadium, like if I'm just listening to the song. So, which also, God bless USA, banger. So
it is.
Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Freaking heater.
We will talk some basketball. We were kind of getting into the tip-off Hall of Fame game, but that was obviously Saturday was a tough one. Just did not look great. I listened to the game, unfortunately. That makes it worse. Thankfully, it wasn't Bob on the call, so that's nice. But did have to listen to the game. I mean, Tennessee bounced back. You play the number 5 team in the country, who's had some already good wins on their under their belt, and you looked. I mean, you had a lot to fix, but you did bounce back today.
You bounced back, and Villanova, I mean, you shot 33% from the field. You were 17.9% from 3. Olivier didn't score. Josiah Jordan-James had 2, and that was late in the game. 4 Tennessee starters combined for 12 points. So when you have that kind of output from your starters, you're not going to win many ball games, especially against the number 5 team in the country.
No, and you did get into foul trouble early, so Tennessee's got to find a way. That was, there were some issues there last year with getting into foul trouble early. And you weren't quite as deep as you are this year. So, I mean, I guess that, you are a little bit deeper this year, but yeah, definitely got to find a way to produce more and produce early. How many points in the first half?
15.
Yeah. It's not good.
Good. Everybody was tweeting at me like, this is your fault for making fun of Vanderbilt for scoring 37 in a game. Now we're not going to get there.
That's a good point. Guys. Blame it on
We got there though. We got to 53. Okay. Vanderbilt has no excuse. We were also playing the number 5 team in the country. So, yeah, just not a good day on Saturday. I think Tennessee fans were up for it, but it started off rough. You mentioned foul trouble. Kenny Chandler gets a charge called on him. He makes the shot. He gets a charge called on him, and the guy was obviously moving. It was just a bad call that didn't go Tennessee's way. Shocker. And it just seemed like we couldn't recover from it. And when we finally took the lid off the basket a little bit, we were down by like 12, 13 points. And that's just a hard number to come back from against a team like Villanova.
Yes. Especially with their backcourt. I mean, and we knew they would. We didn't think their front court would do what they did to us, though. So that was unfortunate to see. I will say this about the charge, and not specifically about that charge. There's too much in basketball now, and I don't watch NBA, so I'm speaking specifically about college basketball, where it's like anytime there's contact on the court, they feel like they got to blow a whistle. Not like if the offensive player was in control and the defensive player was set, that's like it's not a charge. Like it's not a charge. More often than not, a lot of the blocks and a lot of the charges could be simple no calls. That is just contact in a contact sport. You need to let it play. Right. There's too many no calls that they feel like they have to call a block or charge there, and they do. I didn't see the one that kicked off Kennedy Chandler's foul trouble, so I'm not speaking specifically about that one. But just like today, I'm like, why is that ever called? Something that happened in Tennessee's favor. I'm like, that's a no call at best.
Yeah, it was just, and it felt like there was a couple of those calls in the game. I think John Fulkerson had one. It just seemed like every time that a defender would move because they were contact, they were calling like that was just their favorite thing to call that day. They're like, we're
to be fair, I tweeted it. The charge call is the coolest call of all time in any sport ever. So
that's why they want to call it. Yeah,
I get it.
They want to practice a little bit.
You got to get your money's worth. You have to.
But Tennessee also had 18 turnovers. I mean, you can't do that. And some of those were off. I guess a lot of those were probably offensive fouls. But yeah, you just can't have those against a team like Villanova, who's so well coached. You mentioned the backcourt that they have, the winning tradition. It's just not going to go well for you.
No. Or can we? We had 2 games this weekend, so we don't have to talk about Villanova if you don't want to.
I mean, thank God for Vescovi. I felt we were down by 50 points.
Vescovi.
Vescovi.
Is that how you pronounce Vescovi?
Vescovi.
Which is not right, ever.
No. Also, like, even if that's how you say it, I'm not saying it like that. Garantano tried to do the same thing. No. His name is Garantano. You are what you came in as.
Well, he also pronounces it Santiago. Though someone found the video, I would give you a shout out. I retweeted it. That's enough for shout out. If I can find it, he says it how we've always said it. So do it that what you will. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know like how many times Barnes has said Vescovi, but I know he's said it before. But he also just calls him Santi the majority of the time. So, I mean, if worse comes to worse, we just call him Santi.
Well, it was Grant Blaylock that found the video. He said it. Like, he said it Santiago Vescovi.
Yeah, like his first week on campus, they made a video of how to say it or something like that. Like, hey,
he's just getting off the plane.
Right, yeah.
And he's just like, I'm Santiago Vescovi. He's not even like telling you how to pronounce it. He's just saying it.
Right.
He's like, my name's Santiago.
That was like one of the first weeks he was on campus is when.
Yeah. So that guy was wrong. And I had the volume turned down. I only heard him say it once. And he said it. He didn't say however he said it. And he said that a couple times. But he just said it like he was reading the pronunciation guide, and was like reading the dashes. He was like Vescovi when I listened. I was like, you don't have to put a break in that. That's just to help you.
I felt like he was doing that to like try to make a point. Like he was he called us
bad at his point.
Yeah,
he was. So did he just say Tennessee fans are idiots for not knowing how to pronounce his name? Is that what he said?
Yeah, he was mad because people were tweeting him that like it's not right. And he was like, that's how he told us to say it, you idiots.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I hate this guy. I don't even know who he is. I hate him.
I did find out who he was. Hold on.
Oh, I saw a bunch of people tweet at him, but I don't know who he is. I'm sure he's called a lot of games I've listened to.
Fraschilla?
That's not how you pronounce it, you idiot.
Yeah. International Hoops Junkie, former head coach at Manhattan, St. John's, and New Mexico. Well, I mean, today's the first day I've ever heard of you, so.
There you go. Tell him.
And if you're that great at coaching, you'd probably still be coaching, right?
We only shot 5 free throws today.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Hey, shoot or shoot, baby.
I feel like, I mean, when you have Zakai Ziegler that got to the rim at will.
Oh, yeah. Well,
today.
I mean, there was a lot of contact today that didn't get called at the rim. Kenny Chandler's another guy who gets to the rim.
Yeah.
No fouls.
None. Also,
which I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you're going to do that, don't like, if you're not going to call contact, then don't call it on everything.
either side. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm cool with that.
They
They didn't have a
shot-
huge emphasis on
They
offensive
shot 20
fouls today either.
Right. They shot 22 free throws. So do with that information what you will, idiots.
Idiots. But dude, Zakai Ziegler.
He's a dude. He's a verified dude. He's a real live dude. First off,
so
we always knew Little Bow Wow was a stud. So I don't know why we're shocked by it now.
yeah, he just had to get that those shoes with lightning in them.
You put him in a game with a bunch of people wearing Jordans and don't expect him to go off? Get out of here.
Right.
I don't think anybody on North Carolina wears Jordans. They have the logo on their shirt, so there you go. Do they have the Jordan logo? Surely they do.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So surely. So what? Yeah, you don't expect him to come on.
Balling out.
And for his hometown, a bunch of people have made the trip down from Long Island to Connecticut. I don't know how long of a drive that was, but got to do it for several family members.
Put on
that's
for your
cool, too.
city. I love that.
We might need to schedule some games up north this March. See if we can get some more out of Zakiah.
There you go. Yeah. We'll take a worse siege just to play up north.
Absolutely. After that game, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee
Was his
really
family there
relied-
against? Was his family there Saturday? Because if not, I hate him.
Right, yeah, that's their fault. It's not my fault. It's their fault. But no Josiah that in this game, and he's really struggled shooting the ball. I know he impacts the game in a lot of ways, but dude, I need you to score.
He's a guard. He's got to have the ability to score. And if you're getting the bulk of your points, second chance because you're getting rebounds, okay. But like you just have to find, if it's getting to the free throw line, getting in there and getting messy, like you got to find ways to impact the game in the score sheet if you're going to be on a guard for a team that's especially the pace Tennessee's trying to go at.
Right. Yeah, it just felt like North Carolina invited the pace, but they couldn't handle the pace. Like North Carolina's an up-tempo team too, but they didn't have guys that were running like Kenny Chandler and Zakai Ziegler.
No, and their best player just got off the farm this morning, and
man,
I guess they haven't been working him that hard because he didn't look like he could handle it. So
all he did was stand outside and shoot. I mean, he had 24 points.
Yeah, I know. It was ridiculous. Nobody that looks like that should be able to shoot that well. I stand behind that.
But when Tennessee's like making shots, I mean, I think they have a good chance to beat anybody. 54%. When you're shooting 54% and how many like threes we shoot anyway, you're probably winning all your games.
Well, and I think too, you got to talk about, because you can't be expected to shoot 54% every single night.
Right.
Tennessee's front court's got to improve. You've got to get more from Fulgerson and Kumwa in rebounding. Brandon Hunley-Hatfield, he's young, but he's obviously going to have a lot asked of him this year. So you're going to kind of need him to step up. And not that he played good, like he played fine. And nothing against, how he played today. It's just we need more from the front court, bottom line. Who's it going to be is kind of, Brandon Hunley-Hatfield could find himself in the starting lineup come league play if he's the one that figures it out first.
Yeah, I like what you said. You need more from this front court. Fulgerson, I know you're kind of dealing with that coming back from, I know he had face surgery. I know he had, a broken thumb. But, dude, this is your last year. This is it. So we need you to figure it out, especially for March. Because I just don't really like the idea of relying on two true freshman guards to get you there.
Right. And I will say I like the way Justin Powell played today. It was like flashes. He didn't play he didn't impact the game a ton in the entire time he was in the game, but I thought he showed some flashes. I think you're going to get a lot out of the guard position this year, between Vescovi, Chandler, Powell. I hope it's Josiah Jordan-James, Victor Bailey Jr. I think there's a ton of guards that can impact the game in a real positive way this year. So I think the front court is really what Tennessee's got to get figured out first.
Yeah, absolutely. We just look like a different basketball team from, that quick of a turnaround. Maybe it was a good thing that we had a quick turnaround. We couldn't really dwell on that and just had to get ready for the next game. But man, it looked like two totally different teams.
Yeah, and it may be. And I know you did return a lot, but I mean, a lot of the guys you're asking, or not a lot. Some of the guys you're asking of didn't play a ton of significant minutes last year. Kumwa, Kennedy Chandler, who was a freshman, Justin Powell, who didn't play a ton at Auburn. So, I mean, your Urosh, you asked a ton on Saturday. I mean, those guys didn't play significant minutes. So that's we talked about, your first test was Villanova. So maybe the speed of the game, you finally get settled in with like 7 minutes left in the game and score a little bit. Maybe you needed it to get that speed. So maybe it would have been nice to play Villanova a second time around. You don't get to choose the schedule in that sense. But obviously, Tennessee didn't play good on Saturday, but you did, like you said, have that quick turnaround and figure it out for Sunday, and hopefully kind of that momentum carries you in the next few weeks, because it's not like you have just like a super – I mean, yeah, you play a couple non-conference foes that should just kind of be all about finding yourself, but you still have Texas Tech. You do have Tennessee Tech, actually, but Texas Tech, Colorado, and then Memphis and Arizona. So like still a plenty tough schedule here in front of you that you've got to build on whatever you did, whatever you found to work better against North Carolina.
Yeah, I was interested. I was interested to see when Josiah Jordan-James said that he wasn't going to play. Who's going to start? Was it going to be Victor Bailey? Was it going to be Justin Powell? I thought Justin Powell played pretty well today. You mentioned it was kind of in flashes. I agree with that, but he is just a sophomore. Didn't really play a lot last year, and he could be here for another. I think he's probably going to be here another 4 years. So that's good for Tennessee. Zakai Ziegler looks like he's going to be here for a long time. So the future's bright, I think, with this team. And we kind of just got after UNC. We just beat them on, pretty much everything. We outshot them. We had 28 assists. They had 9. As a team, I think we had, with our 3 guards, Chandler, Vescovi, Santi. I'm just going to do that now.
It's Vescovi. I know. Don't sweat it. It's Vescovi.
Okay, Vescovi.
I wouldn't worry about it.
and Ziegler combined for 49 points and 18 assists between the 3 of them. And I mentioned UNC had 9 assists between the whole team. So our guards just whooped their guards all game long. And we had 4 blocks. They had 1. We had 9 steals. They had 4. We had 10 turnovers. They had 13. So pretty much in every statistical category, we just whooped them. It was nice. Felt good.
Yeah, and you mentioned those turnovers. Your guards only had 4, I think, of those 10.
Of what? Sorry.
Of the turnovers, your guards only had 4 of the 10. So keeping that stat low is always a positive for your ball handlers. And you talked about on Thursday when we were previewing kind of this weekend and who we could play. You wanted to play UNC. You knew they weren't that good. No. Still a top 25 win. Their season could be a real roller coaster for Tar Heel fans, but it's a top 25 win over a historically good program that they're good. I mean, they're going to be there in March. How good, that's still going to be up for debate, but you still played a tough test on a 24-hour turnaround. I mean, all in all, this weekend, I wouldn't call it a success, but you were able to kind of find out a lot about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Took care of business today. That's what you need to do, get back on track. And it seems like hopefully this is the Tennessee team we saw. I just think like today, you mentioned like Ziegler and Vescovi and Kennedy Chandler, those guys can get to the rim. So like, I feel like in the Villanova game, they'd get to the rim and try to pass it off, like when they got covered up, and our guys just weren't ready for the ball. Today, they seem more ready for the ball, and that's why they got a lot of easy baskets. and a ton of assists. I mean, there was some that we probably still – I know Brandon Huntley-Hatfield had one that he probably should have finished. Olivier had one he should have finished. But for the most part, Tennessee caught the ball, which is something that you should be able to do out of the womb, catch the basketball, and get easy baskets.
Yeah, easy. I think that's the thing for the front court. Like, score the easy baskets. You're not going to be asked to do a ton else.
Also, Huntley-Hatfield played 23 minutes. Urosh scored or played 13. I think that's how it should be. I don't think Urosh is. I'm sorry. I like the guy, but he just doesn't give us anything.
No. I'll leave it at that.
How many rebounds did he have? He had 2. Vescovi had 9 rebounds. I mean, that's just effort. That's all that is.
It's a little bit more than effort, but I think it still tells a part of the story that's important to who should be on the
Kai Ziegler's 5'7", and he had 2 rebounds today.
Yeah.
I think he's 5'8". He's listed as 5'9". There's no way he's 5'9". Did you see
he is on the court with 6'7" guys?
Did you see him he spoke to the media this past week. Did you see that interaction with him and Rick Barnes?
No.
Rick Barnes spoke first, and then Ziegler did. So Rick Barnes came back, and while he was talking, and he was like, "Hey, did I move the microphone? Did I adjust the microphone for you?" And the guy was like, "Oh, you got jokes." And he was like, "Yeah, he's hilarious." And he made him say something. He's from Brooklyn, Long Island.
I saw tweets that were like his family came up from Long Island, so Long Island's what I'm going with.
But he made him say something. Yeah, he's from Long Island, New York. Walk away, and he says, "Walk away."
Interesting. Is that the only weird thing he says? Is that the thing Rick Barnes probably loved?
I guess they just heard him say that once, and like that's what they like make him say. I don't know. It was just a funny interaction with a true freshman, and for him to like already be speaking to the media. You know, they mentioned in the game today that he was like coaching up Brandon Huntley-Hatfield in the game, so it just looks like a veteran.
Yeah.
Already.
Big weekend for Tennessee. Obviously, like we said, wasn't quite the you wanted obviously to get whatever championship trophy that you get for winning that. I'm sure you get something. That would have been nice, but it is what it is. You do get a couple more opportunities to play some tough competition kind of here in the next couple weeks. But next up is Tennessee Tech on Friday night, then Presbyterian before you go to Boulder, Colorado. So a couple games to take the family out to here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Family out there.
Lady Vols basketball got the win over number 12 Texas today in overtime.
Yeah, was going to mention Lady Vols basketball who gets the 74-70 win. And then also women's soccer. I know the weekend came down to a not so happy ending with a 3-0 loss to 2-seed Michigan, host of the regional there, but did get the win over Washington State on Friday, and that got Tennessee to 20 wins. I'm saying this without double checking. I believe this is the first 20-win season in Tennessee soccer history. So
wow,
obviously a big year for them. You want to win it all. Unfortunately, only one team gets that honor. But a big season, SEC champs for the first time since 2008. So big year for the Lady Vols. And Brian Penske's built soccer program over there. So next year could be another big year for the Lady Vols.
There you go. College football.
South Carolina.
Pac-12 is done.
South Carolina is bowl eligible, and coachless Florida is not.
Missouri and South Carolina. I mean, that's just –
I love that.
It pisses me off a lot. Like when I think about like why couldn't we play that Florida team?
The thing is like that's why it's funny. Florida fans act like it's not a rivalry. I mean, Florida still gets up for that game. So
yeah,
It's a rivalry.
And
South
I think
Carolina,
like the next
well-
week is when they just was it the next week that they played LSU and just crap the bed?
I don't know if that was the next week or not. I mean, it was soon after, 2 weeks after, if not
Yeah.
the next week. But Vols steak. South Carolina is still terrible. I 100% agree. South Carolina didn't. Oh yeah, South Carolina beat Auburn. I'm twisted up all in this, making fun of Florida. South Carolina is still terrible, but the fact that they got bowl eligible before Florida is hilarious, and I'm gonna laugh about it for the rest of the year. So,
Who did they beat?
Auburn.
Yeah, what in the world?
And I tuned in. I don't know if Bo Nix ever played, or if he was
He
injured,
didn't.
or he didn't.
I don't think he played, no.
It was just TJ Finley.
Yeah.
Played the whole game, and I mean, I watched a little bit. I was kind of it started at the same time the Tennessee game did, so I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but kind of flipping back and forth there. And South Carolina ran the ball well, and Auburn just looked terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, they look bad. Michigan State looked bad. Oregon looked bad. I mean, right now it looks like there's 3 teams that should be in the college football playoff. Well, actually, really, I mean, Alabama keeps winning, so yeah, they're going to be in it. Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. I know Cincinnati whooped the crap out of SMU. Maybe they made a statement, but they've looked pretty bad the past couple weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, they're scheduled. I think right now, first off, you put yourself in a position. I guess the college football committee didn't think it was going to get as crazy as it did, but Michigan can't jump them right now.
No, they play Ohio State, so
it'll work itself out. Yeah,
right. Does Notre Dame end up passing them? That's where you're going to see a huge debate if they end up doing it.
I don't think Cincinnati gets in. So
I hope not, because I got money on it.
On Cincinnati not going in?
Yeah, it was a boost one day.
In that case, Cincinnati's in. I believe it. I didn't know you put money on it.
It was like Oregon, all they had to do was like really just beat Utah, and they just looked awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Oklahoma State, they're 10-1, so they kind of control their own destiny. I know they got to beat. They'll probably have to beat Oklahoma next week, and then Baylor in the Big 12. So they probably won't end up getting in. But if they do that, they have a better chance than Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, and again, I don't think since. I mean, I think there's a scenario that a 2-loss Alabama team gets in over Cincinnati. Especially if you're going to keep up the debate of we're putting the best teams in, then if Alabama loses Georgia, you're still putting them in.
Right. Yep.
So I think there's plenty of chances to not.
I don't know. Alabama's just like they're not helping their case out right now by barely beating teams by a touchdown.
No, and that was a funny debate I saw about someone was like when Michigan State got blown out, they're like, this is why it doesn't need to be a 12 team. And I'm like, but Alabama almost lost to Arkansas, who's number 21. Yeah. So I mean, come on. I don't think it's as cut and dry as it seems to be. And someone says, well, the best teams will always be there. Isn't that the case in every tournament ever? Like, don't you assume that's why you have the tournament? Don't you assume the best teams are always going to be there?
Right.
So it's just a weird debate to have when you're saying.
I mean, what's up with freaking Alabama's defense? Because Bryce Young threw for 559 yards and 4 touchdowns?
All I heard, I didn't see the final stats, but he put up a Heisman night. So whatever that is. It was 500-something yards.
I mean, that's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
So who wins the Heisman? Because I think Kenneth Walker's probably out now, right?
I don't even know who's in the who. I mean, I feel like Bryce Young is one of the better candidates.
Yeah, it's probably Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
Kenny Pickett, I think his name's been tossed around a lot the last couple of weeks, but his stats aren't wowing. Matt Corral's been in it. I mean,
it's probably going to be Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
I was about to say, I mean, it's I guess CJ Stroud, I didn't see what he had to have a good week. They beat him about 50.
He was 32 for 35, 432 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, so
Bryce Young had 5 touchdowns. He was 31 for 40 with 559 yards.
Yeah, so I think those are the only two that are going to be talked about the rest of the season, unless you just see an implode from one of them. So. But even then, I mean, there's everybody right behind them's got a lot of catching up to do to even be in the talk, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
This would have been a good year for some random, like, who was it at Buffalo a couple years ago?
Jared Patterson.
Averaged like 200 yards a game. Would have been a great year for him to be doing that.
Yeah, I think that was last year, wasn't it?
Was it last year? Probably.
Yeah, because I would bet on them a lot. Like them to cover in the over.
They would cover, and they ran the ball 60 times per game.
Yeah.
They would hit overs doing that. It was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah, it would have been a great year for him to be in the Heisman race. Or his stats would have been probably the best. So we'll run through some of these games, though. You mentioned the Alabama-Arkansas game. I feel like the controversial. So Alabama ends up winning 42-35. They get a touchdown to go up 14. I don't know how you overturn that. And I know a lot of people are like, it probably gets overturned if it's Arkansas. I don't know. I know my orange glasses that really wanted Alabama to lose were like, that's definitely not a touchdown. But I was also like, I don't know if you can overturn that.
Yeah.
Did you get to see it? I know you were tailgating in the stadium and.
No, I did not. I did not see that. The only game that was on there was the Wisconsin game.
Gotcha.
So no, I did not get this. I was keeping up with it, just like kind of checking the score every now and then. I just assumed Alabama would win.
Yeah, they found a way. But I mean, that touchdown obviously gets way more important because Alabama Arkansas actually on their next touchdown would have gone up 35-34, assuming they miss a field goal there because that was 3rd and 10. So, yeah, and it was close. It would have been a 50-something yarder if they had to kick it. So, very, very missable range. I think he hit a long field goal, though, the Alabama kicker early in the game. You mentioned Oregon and Utah. Utah they got out to a huge lead before the half with a kick return.
Yeah.
Or punt return, right before it, and never looked back. I mean, they cruised to it. They made Oregon look terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I know they're without Kayvon Thibodeau, but that was just a weird.
Well, Utah's probably not, or Oregon's not going to play in their championship now because of that game.
Oh, really?
Isn't Utah in the same division? And they're 7-1. Oregon's 6-2 in the Pac-12.
Yikes!
I believe that's right. Well, they're also 6-2, so whoever's on the other side of the division may have. I don't know what the Pac-12 looks like, and I pride myself in not knowing what the Pac-12 looks like.
Yeah, no one. They're not getting in the college football playoffs. So.
No. You mentioned. I think we talked about Michigan. I know at the college football playoff. I mean, they did have a statement win. I mean, they scored 59 points on Maryland, won 59-18. So I mean, that probably helps their case to jump Cincinnati this week. Kind of similar to Notre Dame, 10-1, 55-point victory over a Power 5 team in Georgia Tech. So I mean, those two teams that did have big weeks, that they definitely put themselves. I feel like I'm I've kind of been bidding for Cincinnati to be in the playoff the whole time, but I feel like legitimately Michigan and Notre Dame at least help themselves make a case this week to be the number 4 team.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you're beating teams like that are Power 5.
Yeah.
No offense to Cincinnati, but you beating SMU 48-14, even though SMU's 8-3, it still doesn't carry that same weight.
No. Nope. Not at all. Then Oklahoma State got their win over Texas Tech 23-0. Then I was shocked by the score of this one. Clemson 48, Wake Forest 27. I'm not shocked Clemson won.
Right.
I'm shocked.
I was shocked that they scored 48 points.
Exactly. Shocked that they won by 21, scored 48. If they won by 21, I would have said 21-0.
Yeah.
So to score 27 on Clemson's defense and not win, especially with the way their offense is produced this year, that's a little demoralizing.
Mm-hmm.
Little demoralizing. I mentioned,
but Wake Forest defense, they couldn't stop they couldn't stop anything. They're terrible.
No. Which when we talked about how are they number 10 when they were undefeated at that one point, we knew why. It's just the rankings can still not make sense.
Right.
I mentioned Vanderbilt Ole Miss. I thought the Vanderbilt Ole Miss score was closer at the half. I don't know if Ole Miss got a late touchdown. They were up 24 to 9. I thought it was closer than that. So maybe 17 to 9, and they got a late score.
That's closer than what I thought it was going to be.
Fair point. Maybe
I
that's
think
why.
What was the spread was like 35.
The spread was massive, like not touchable massive.
Yeah.
So,
and then
Pitt,
Vanderbilt could lose by 50, but they can. I don't trust Ole Miss either.
Oh, never, ever. Lane Kiffin to Miami or Lane Kiffin to Florida. Now that Florida's open,
I don't know.
He doesn't. There's no way. He's not that dumb, right?
I think if there's any job out there, he goes to Miami. Because isn't Miami's AD like the AD that hired him at FAU?
He may be. I honestly don't know. But I mean, Miami's finishing the year strong somehow.
Yeah, so, I don't think Manny Diaz is going anywhere.
So that job probably doesn't open up now. Mentioned Kenny Pickett. Pitt gets a win 48-38 over Virginia. Probably your ACC champion, Pitt. They look like they're not an outstanding football team, and they look like the obvious favorite in the ACC.
Yeah. I thought Wake Forest was going to get to that point, but I mentioned their defense just can't stop anybody. So when you can't stop anybody, you're not going to win the conference title.
And Pitt looks better than Wake Forest.
Yeah, 100%.
So they get that win. Potential bowl match, NC State, 41-17 over Syracuse. And we mentioned maybe hopefully one of our listeners got the $5 ticket. If so, I want my commission check in the mail, Mississippi State. I think it was a $5 get in, right, on Thursday. Might have been less than that.
Yeah.
They beat HBCU, Tennessee State, 55-10.
Any
other games?
That makes me sick.
They're ranked 25th. Well, we should have hired. It's our fault. It's Tennessee's fault for not hiring Mike Leach. Let's be honest.
And it's our fault for scheduling a team like Pitt. We should have scheduled freaking Tennessee State and been done with it.
Memphis. That was their big out of conference game.
Oh, really? Yeah. And they lost.
Yeah, they did. Any other games you want to mention that I may have well, we just mentioned South Carolina, Auburn. That was an ugly game, by the way.
Yep.
Very ugly game if you didn't get to watch any of it. So good to see Auburn lose because they're big on Brian. Is it Harsin? Am I making that name up?
Harsin. Yeah, you're right.
Harsin. They acted like he was going to be the next best coach in the SEC. I didn't see it. It didn't make sense. So that's a bad loss to have on your record any year, let alone, your first year, it's never good. People probably aren't on your side anyways.
Yeah, that's Ball State was like people were shouting for Shane Beamer to be SEC Coach of the Year. Heck no. They beat Auburn when they didn't have their starting quarterback. They beat Florida when they were about to fire Dan Mullen. So I'm not putting any stock into Shane Beamer. He's a weirdo.
He's I don't think he has had a good enough year. But when we talk about doing the most with the least, Shane Beamer's in that conversation.
Oh, yeah. So is Josh Heupel.
But
I don't think Josh Heupel is close to winning it either.
When we're talking about depleted rosters, though, South Carolina's is far more depleted than Tennessee's.
Oh, yeah.
Far more depleted. And like their part was also injury. Like they got screwed by injury early in the season. And they've somehow managed to win 6 games. They did almost beat Kentucky. When I'm looking at the SEC Coach of the Year, like I said, doing the most of the least, I'm not like Shane Beamer. I don't think is an outlandish take. I think he makes more sense than Mark Stoops. I think at this point he makes more sense than Sam Pittman.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I would say he makes just as much sense as Josh Heupel, if not a little bit more, just because, like I said, everyone was like Tennessee. That's a lot of people were like that's a toss-up game. I'm like, South Carolina's awful. that's a toss-up game. Tennessee's in a worse position than I thought. So that's all I mean when I say South Carolina is bad.
But they also didn't have the NCAA hanging over them either.
They didn't. But that shouldn't affect you really on the field. We can talk recruiting.
I think they're. I would say they were in the same boat. I think South Carolina was a lot better defensively. Like coming into the season, I would think South Carolina would be a better team defensively than Tennessee would be, but I thought Tennessee would be better offensively.
I mean, just look at the quarterback.
And Josh Heupel beat the crap out of Shane Beamer.
Well, I mean, just the most important player on your field, and South Carolina had no idea what they were going to do.
No,
they still don't, and they won some.
But we did play them when they had their true starter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, we didn't go up against a grad assistant. We didn't. I mean, whoever. I don't even know who their quarterback is now. It's not Zeb, and it's not Luke Doty. I don't know who it is now.
I can't remember who started.
They're finding ways. I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
Because that was a mess. I would not have guessed they would be bowl eligible.
Oh no, I truly like. I don't think Shane Beamer is going to be great in the long haul for South Carolina. I don't know if anybody can win there, but I guess I just don't think it's absurd that his name's in there. I think Sam Pittman's not had a good enough season. It looked like at the beginning of the year. So, Vols State said Jason Brown quarterback. Is that? Like
that's right. We were joking about Jason Brown from last chance you. Yeah.
Slap dick.
Yeah. But yeah, Kirby Smart's going to win it. So,
yeah, and probably, unfortunately, rightfully so.
Yeah,
is what it is. Anything else for college football recap?
That's it. I mean, it's just impossible to bet on. So is the NFL. The NFL's stupid too.
Yeah,
I mean the Titans. I don't know what the Titans. If they're playing a Super Bowl contender, they're kicking their ass. If they are playing one of the worst teams in the NFL, they're losing.
That's how it goes, man.
I mean, they've literally lost to the Texans and the Jets, are 2 of their 3 losses.
The two worst teams in the. I mean, you're right. 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yep.
So, I'm having one of those years in fantasy. Speaking of hard to bet on, I'm having one of those years in fantasy where I never start the right guy. Like I'm always starting. Like it's always like the guy substitute outperforms. It's one of those years. So, it's been fun. Been a lot of fun. Most important of the week.
Most important.
I know I mentioned the Kansas tight end that had never played a snap of offense in his career. Mm-hmm. Did you see, first off, his Applebee's commercial? I don't know if we talked about that. Did you see it? Fantastic. I hope it takes over. Look it up when we get off here. I hope it takes over for that stupid song. It's a fantastic commercial.
Yeah, 100%.
Good for him getting that NIL money. Second off, they did a video. I don't know if it was College Game Day or who. They did a video with his parents talking. I cried. His parents videotaped the last play.
Yeah,
they don't know he caught it until like he gets up and like they're like announce his name. Like that's awesome.
That was on game day.
Okay. Yeah, I was like that. I cried a little bit. I'm a crier.
Social crier.
Made me tear up. Oh yeah, made me tear up. It was a sweet story. But no, I mean that's that. And then you have. Speaking of that, then you have Missouri go for 2 against Florida. I love that call. Like, because especially for Missouri, whose their defense ain't going to stop Florida. Like, why even put your defense back on the field? Just end it right there. If you win, you gave it your best, your best against their best. Whereas, like, rather than putting it on your defense to make another play. And then it ends up working out for you. That's even better.
Yeah.
And then my most important from that, Eli Drinkowitz, may the force be with you. I tweeted it 100 times funnier than anything Lane Kiffin's done. And in case you don't remember, that's a callback to Dan Mullen last year, dressing up as Darth Vader in the press conference after he beat Missouri.
That's awesome.
The fact that he had a lightsaber queued up. I mean, that dork, love it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, props to freaking Drinkwitz for going for 2 there.
Yeah. Ballsy, I love it.
Big balls. He doesn't look like a guy. I mean, he looks like an analytics guy, and I don't know if the analytics would have told you to go for 2, but he went for 2.
F the analytics guy.
My most important is Jonathan Taylor having 5 touchdowns versus the Bills today. Bills are one of the best defenses in the National Football League, and he had 5 touchdowns. Also, he helped me win a freaking anytime touchdown parlay today.
The Bills are another team who's like not been good against not great opponents.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's just the NFL. Like, no one is the clear-cut favorite to win anything in the NFL.
No.
The Bucks are weird too. They're the same.
Yeah, they'll figure it out though. That's the thing that pisses me off. Like, I know Tom Brady's team will figure it out somehow.
Right.
So, my next one, my last one, Tiger Woods. This could go on a what's trending. It may make it back, but he tweeted a video making progress, hitting the golf club again, hitting the golf ball again. Looking 2022 Masters champ. Write it down. But this is what's insane. So he tweeted it about 11, and I took this screenshot at like 6 o'clock today. But it had 31,000, almost 32,000 retweets and 163,000 likes. That's insane. That's moving the needle on social media right there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which I don't know what he's tweeted, like, besides like a couple like congratulations. I need to go to his page. Other than like a couple like congratulations when like I know when Phil won the PGA, he tweeted at him. But like I don't think his page has been very active. So I think I didn't have the notifications turned on, but I know a ton of people were kind of monitoring it. And yeah, that was so everyone was like waiting on that video to drop. Knew it would come at some point. So that was freaking awesome. I hope that'd be amazing if he won a major next year. It'd be amazing if he played in a major next year.
Right. Butch Jones to Florida.
Please
get that going.
Please.
God, I had another one queued up here. Oh, Elizabethton getting revenge and beating Greenville in the 3rd round of the playoffs, 13-7.
A tough football game, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how in the world you hold Greenville to 7 points, but whoever that defensive coordinator is should get a raise.
See, at Witten? No, the head coach is at Witten.
He might be.
How many Wittens are there?
I mean, what a freaking game.
How many Schulers are there?
There's probably a lot of Schulers, too.
I didn't know he's Schuler's son. I didn't know. I think it's son, nephew, something plays for Tennessee. But where didn't his son go somewhere else?
His son goes to App State.
Okay, so there's another Schuler on Tennessee's roster that went to what's that school in North Carolina? The Christian school,
the Christ School,
like from there. I assume he's related to him, son, nephew, cousin. I don't know. I'm gonna pull it up. But I was like, I'm pretty sure he's Schuler's son did not like goes to another school. I thought it was a service academy. But I think I'm sure find him.
Joe, do you have any most importance?
Caleb kind of stole my Tiger Woods take there, but
sorry.
I did see one that just came up on Twitter feed. It's a little bit more of a what's trending, but did you see LeBron just absolutely? It wasn't Isaiah Stewart, just clocked him in the eye and like got ejected. It was like a whole mess.
Oh,
yeah,
I missed that.
Like a fool. Like there was like this dude Isaiah Stewart went after LeBron for like 2 minutes straight on the court, like trying to like just like, and you could tell like if he got a hold of LeBron, it wasn't gonna. It would have been some great television because LeBron just like fists some. Well, I shouldn't use that terminology. LeBron just throws the elbow and the fist gets him right in the eye, and his eye was bleeding like crazy. But I don't know. I think it's nice to gut check LeBron every now and then. But he got ejected in a flagrant too. So
is he taking too much testosterone? Maybe. I mean, getting a little angry.
Maybe that's what the Lakers needed. They've sucked lately, so maybe they needed just a boost like that. Apparently, they won, so whatever it takes.
All right, so the kid that plays at Tennessee is Wes Schuler. His parents isn't Heath, but Jeff and Christy Schuler. So if Jeff's Heath's brother, it says his hometown is Knoxville, Tennessee, but he went to Christ School, which is
Okay.
isn't that where his okay.
Yeah.
Surely there's got to be a relation then.
Relative cousin or something.
Surely. I don't know. I haven't been able to find it out, but
Let's get Wes Schuler on the show.
there we go. We'll just that's the one question we need to ask. Are you related to Heath? Okay. Thank you for joining.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Fail of the week.
Fail.
Mine's Bear on game day. How does I don't know what he does, but if he's just on the show to make picks, he's terrible at it.
He's awful.
What's
He
his
picked South
credibility?
Alabama. He did pick. I don't know if he picked Utah or not. I don't know what, but he did pick South Alabama, and he's 15-18 on the season. Like he's terrible.
It's not good for a professional gambler.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Put us
if
up
you're
there.
on national television, like making picks, you should be a little better than that.
Well, he's working for the man, so he can't give away all the picks on him.
That's true.
He's got to have stake in DraftKings or something.
Yeah, but you got to go over 50%.
Yeah, don't make it too obvious that you're working.
Yeah,
with
I mean, I
DraftKings.
could go out there and just lose.
I do it all the
Are you
time.
saying you would?
Exactly.
Are you saying you would lose for a check from DraftKings?
How
Or
much
would you
does
lose
he check?
intentionally for Bear? That's a good question. How much does Bear make? Worst case,
I'm sure he makes more than me.
you don't have to give me a dime to let me go to let me go to a different campus every Saturday in the fall and lose picks for you. Just let me fly for free. I'm good.
Yeah, just pay
Just
for
pay,
my
just pay the bills.
food, lodge, plane. Yeah, must be nice.
Must be. My fail is the New England Patriots, their social media team. Matthew Judon. Is that how you say his last name?
Judon. Yeah.
He had 10.5 career sacks on Thursday night. Their graphic, though, did you see the graphic? It looks like he had half a sack, and that was his career high. Let me see if I can. I guess they used him as the one, and it looks terrible. Landon.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to go check this. I was like, he had half a sack, and you're celebrating that as his career high.
It's the fact that they made the 0 so big and the 5 so small. Like at least make it like the opposite. This is awful.
It was very confusing. I was like, half a sack, but they pour like sacks. There's a plural. So this is so confusing. Very confusing.
Sorry, I'm watching this like Lakers Pistons thing right now.
Oh, you're
Dude, it's
watching the fight.
nuts. It just keeps going. Like they hold him back and you think he's good, and then he just charges again.
He just
You're like, oh my
charges again. It's like he might have a concussion.
Yeah.
I mean, blood is like oozing out of this man's face.
Yeah. Right when he gets to the sideline, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm good." Boom, just darts.
My last one, I thought this was funny. Did you see Florida's their final game tweet, like their final score tweet? That it was sponsored by Wells Fargo. It was like final for Missouri 23, Missouri 24, and they tagged Wells Fargo in it. Like I'm sure Wells Fargo loves that, loves being tagged in your lost tweets.
They should be tagged in more lost because that is a terrible company.
Landon getting into the finance over here.
Yeah, they're literally awful. Read the fine print. Just let you know that. Read the fine print.
All right, that's all my fails.
That's all I got.
Same.
Time for Yellowstone. Joe, you
Time for
started yet?
Yellowstone.
No. I'm still trying to finish like 3 shows at once. It's just
Joe,
I
you have
started
one
another-
job.
I know. I need
I
to
need a
drop
2-page.
one.
I need a 2-page report on the first 5 episodes of Yellowstone by Thursday.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm glad I said that. We need to figure out what we're doing this week. It is Thanksgiving. We won't do a Thursday show. So So we'll figure that out and we'll let you guys know. Keep
Yeah.
posted on Twitter for the schedule. Glad I said that.
Yeah, I forgot all about that too.
Forgot about Thanksgiving? Do you even
I
love your family?
forgot. All I know is tomorrow is ham day at work.
Honey roasted?
Yeah, everybody gets a free ham that works. Today.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all were eating ham. I was like,
No, we get the fruit. So that's my contribution to my family's Thanksgiving.
Wells Fargo would never give out ham to their
No,
staff.
they would never. No, they probably give out like chicken cutlets or like something stupid. They probably give out
Love it.
turkey or bologna.
Turkey.
They give out a bologna.
Free Frosty.
Have you ever had fried bologna? I hate bologna, but fried bologna is a different animal.
Fried bologna is not good as ham.
Smoked bologna is delicious.
So you don't like bologna, but just for like frying it makes it like.
I don't know what it is. Smoked bologna is delicious. That's what I was thinking of. I don't know if I've had fried
Oh,
bologna. I'm sure I have. Smoked bologna is very good. I was
You
thinking
never
of
had fried
turkey.
bologna?
I don't know if I have. I'm trying to think. I have had smoked bologna. Very good.
Well, you just said something about fried bologna. So
I
you've never.
misspoke. I misspoke.
Okay.
Smoked
I was like,
bologna.
what?
TikTok.
happening right
My TikTok page is covered in fried turkey videos. So I've got fried all in my head.
Wait, fried turkey or fried bologna?
Fried turkey.
Okay. We're
Which
all over the place.
Well, that's why I got fried in my head. That's where I'm at.
Fried turkey, like turkey in general, is just not great.
See,
Overrated.
I can't disagree because a lot of people don't cook it right. When you have a good turkey, I will say turkey's good.
Yeah, but it doesn't touch ham.
No. Oh God, no.
Yeah, if they did turkey day, I'd be like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
If turkey was better, they wouldn't just eat it at Thanksgiving. That's all that needs to be said.
That's true.
So
That's a good point.
there you go.
All right, guys, that's all we got. Tennessee is going bowling. Thank the good Lord above. We're bringing